While I will be the first to admit that I enjoy reading SCP articles during my free time, I will also say that it's rare for them to take a space rent-free in my head. Most articles that I read, I tend to remember what they were about if I stumble again upon them, sure. But there are a few that end up popping back into my head every now and then, leaving a long-lasting impression from the sheer horror I felt upon reading them for the first time, and sometimes even the second or the third. SCP-3515 Unearth is one of such articles. Written by Sol, this is perhaps one of the most terrifying SCP articles on the entire wiki due to the atmosphere, implications, and overall idea around it. While most SCP-related videos tend to simply read over the article, in this video I would like to also analyze and review a few key points that made it as horrifying as it is. Worry not, this video will include a full reading of the entire article in the first part, and then an analysis on the second part, as a separate element. So if you don't care about the analysis part and only want to hear the narration for the article, then you can just click off after the reading, as it won't be interrupted by me pausing and analyzing the article. If you've read this particular SCP already recently, or if you'd like to read it on your own, which I personally recommend, and you're here only for the analysis, then you can follow this timestamp to skip the reading. I feel like this should be a satisfying compromise for everyone, and now without further ado, let's get right into it. SCP-3515 Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3515 is to be stored in a standard art locker at Site-77. Containment and testing locations must be situated no less than 50 meters from any on-site sleeping quarters or common area. Description: SCP-3515 is a 40 cm by 60 cm charcoal drawing on paper, currently fitted in a wooden frame. The drawing depicts a barren landscape with a large knotted willow tree in the foreground, at the crest of a hill of bare earth. The artist and date of creation are unknown. Persons spending more than 1 hour in close proximity to SCP-3515, within a range of approximately 5 meters, will be subject to low-volume auditory hallucinations described as the sound of slow, steady digging. In noise comparison tests, subjects have most commonly matched SCP-3515-induced hallucinations with recordings of manual digging with a metal shovel in heavy clay soil. If an affected individual is no longer in proximity to SCP-3515, these auditory hallucinations cease. If an individual enters slow-wave sleep, stage 3 of non-REM sleep, while in proximity to SCP-3515, that individual will spontaneously dematerialize. Dematerialization will include clothing and other objects physically attached to the individual. No further evidence is available of the location of civilians presumed to have been affected by this phenomenon. In Foundation experimentation, the most notable test to date has been Experimental Protocol 3515-C01. Experimental Protocol 3515-C01 selected logs. Notes: a single test subject, D6042, was placed in a testing chamber with SCP-3515 and a standard Foundation single bedding set. D6042 was fitted with a GPS tracking device, a head-mounted camera and a microphone, and a transmitter affixed to D6042's clothing. Relevant extracts from the recording logs are set out below. The initial phase of the experiment confirmed the presence of auditory hallucinations as anticipated, and showed no unexpected results. After initial observations were complete, the secondary effect of SCP-3515 was tested. So, you want me to lie down and go to sleep? That's correct. Please do not remove or disable your equipment. Okay. What are you testing for, please? I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. We will be monitoring you at all times. Right. Sure. Hey, is there anything you can do about that noise? I'm afraid not. Just try to ignore it. I'll try to. It's pretty quiet anyway. D6042 lies in a lateral position, with the camera facing the wall of the testing chamber. No sound is recorded other than D6042's breathing. After approximately 17 minutes, The attached electroencephalograph records 6042 falling asleep. Approximately 20 minutes later, brainwave patterns indicate that 6042 has reached slow-wave sleep. D6042 dematerializes. Clothing and attached electronic devices also dematerialize, with the exception of the leads for the electroencephalograph, which remain on the bed. Signals from the camera, microphone, and GPS continue to be received by the monitoring team. The GPS signals update to a location in. This location is confirmed by multilateration of the broadcast signal of the recording equipment. The view from the head-mounted camera changes to what appears to be another room. The wall is of a different color, and the shape of the pillow also appears to be different. Breathing can be heard through the microphone, suggesting that D6042 remains asleep. The monitoring team continues to observe while the closest mobile task force is ordered to the location of the GPS signal. The MTF reports a suburban house, showing signs of recent habitation, but with the current residents absent. Footage from one of the upstairs bedrooms resembled the interior shown on D6042's camera. D6042 is not present in the bedroom. After approximately 3 hours with no activity observed, the monitoring team agrees to attempt to wake D6042 up. D6042, D6042, can you hear me? D6042. Huh? What? Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I was asleep. The camera turns to show the ceiling of the darkened room. That's okay. How do you feel? I'm fine. A bit groggy. But I'm fine. Why? Can you describe your surroundings, please? The camera view turns, showing the interior of a typical bedroom, including a bookcase and a desk. The room's dimensions and paint color are consistent with those observed by the mobile task force, but the furnishings are different. Members of the MTF are not visible. What is this? D6042, do you recognize your location? Yeah, this is my bedroom. In my parents' house, I mean. This is my bedroom from when I was a kid. Wow, those are my books. We have agents in the room with you. They can't see you there. There's no one here with me. How did I get here? We're hoping you can help us work that out. You are the first person to document this phenomenon. Could you please have a look around and see if there is anything unusual? I guess. D6042 exits the bedroom and walks along a hallway. No other persons are observed. Hello? Anyone here? No response is heard. D6042 reaches a landing and proceeds down a flight of stairs. There are framed photographs on the wall of the staircase. Wow, even the same pictures. The photographs appear normal and are consistent with known information about D6042's family. Background checks confirm the GPS location as 6042's childhood residence. Any of you guys here? Mom? The MTF reports the return of the current owners of the property, who are unrelated to D6042. They are temporarily detained by the Foundation and later amnesticized. D6042 reaches the base of the stairs and enters the living area. Electric lights are operational, but curtains are drawn. This is so weird. It's just like it was when I was growing up. I fell off that sofa when I was 7. Sprained my wrist. So everything is as you remember? Yeah, although a lot quieter with no one here. But otherwise... Oh, wait a second. What is it? That painting on the far wall. I don't remember that. D6042 crosses the living area. The picture on the wall resembles SCP-3515. That's the painting from the test. I'm sure we didn't have this at home. You haven't seen that picture before the test? Do you recall having a different painting on this wall when you were a child? No, I don't remember. But I haven't seen this picture before today, I'm sure. Could you please go a little nearer so we can see it close up? D6042 approaches SCP-3515. The details of the picture appear unchanged. Looks the same to me. Thank you. Same for us. Although, I can't say for sure, but maybe the noise is a little bit louder? The digging sound? Yes. Okay, we'll make a note of that. Keep an eye out for any other differences. In the meantime, could you please open the curtains? We'd like to look outside. D6042 pulls open the curtains. The exterior of the window is obscured. Weird. It's like it's covered in mud. Or like... D6042 runs to the front door of the house, unlocks it, and attempts to pull it open. The door appears to be stuck in place. D6042 pulls on the handle, leaning away from the door. Suddenly the door opens, the camera hitting the ground as D6042 falls.
Ah! Ow!
D6042 scrambles away from the door. The camera struggles to focus.
Shit.
D6042, talk to us. Are you injured? What's going on?
You can see it?
D6042 walks back to the front door. The space behind the open door is filled with dark soil. Dirt has spilled onto the floor of the house, and onto D6042's jumpsuit.
What the hell?
D6042 reaches through the doorway, pulling at the dirt. Clumps of earth fall to the ground, and more dirt falls into the gaps from above. There is no obvious limit to the volume of soil outside the door. D6042 moves rapidly through the kitchen and other rooms, pulling aside curtains and opening windows where possible. The entire house appears to be surrounded by packed earth.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Please, try to remain calm, D.
Fuck that!
D6042 runs upstairs and into the house's bedrooms, continuing to curse and ignoring instructions from the monitoring team. All upstairs windows are blocked with earth. D6042 appears increasingly agitated. D6042 returns downstairs to the living area, picks up a wooden chair, and throws it at the window. The window breaks. Dark earth spills through a crack. D6042 falls to a sitting position, breathing heavily.
Bastard. You fucking bastard. You buried me.
Shortly afterward, D6042 removed the camera and headset. The GPS tracking signal moved within the area of the house for several hours. Eventually, D6042 returned to the living area and reattached the camera and headset, resuming contact with the monitoring team. Thank you for coming back.
Shut up. You have to get me out of there. I've looked everywhere I can, and it's the same. This whole place is covered in dirt. Doors, windows, I even checked the basement. And behind it, there's just more dirt. So, you have to get me out, okay?
I can assure you that we are trying every approach we possibly can to—
No, damn it! You have to get me out, not try to do it. Look, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay calm, but I am not alright here. I need you to help.
We're going to help you. We will.
Please.
We will. Now, have you eaten?
Yeah, a little. There's stuff in the kitchen.
Something to drink? We thought we could hear the taps running.
Yeah.
Slept?
No.
It's probably a good idea if—
How long do I have?
I'm sorry?
Until I run out of air. How long until there's no more oxygen?
Well, it's more the carbon dioxide that you need to—
How long?
Actually, it should be quite a long time. The house is pretty large, so provided we keep the air ventilating, you should have enough for weeks, maybe.
Oh, is that true?
I mean, yes, it should be.
So you'll get me out?
Yes, we will. But first, I think we should all get some sleep. And we'll come up with a new plan tomorrow.
I don't know.
We've got plenty of time, you have lots of food and water, and there's nothing there to interfere with you. Ideally, I'd like to try with you sleeping in the living room.
No! No! I don't want to sleep here.
Is it the picture? I know how you feel, but it's possible that falling asleep with it again will reverse the effect.
Okay. I'll try.
D6042 slept for several hours in the living room. No change in situation was evident. The next day, the experimental team guided D6042 through the house, confirming that all areas outside of the building were filled with soil of various types and consistencies. Samples were collected for testing. Attempts to use communication devices were unsuccessful. While all equipment was operational, telephone calls were not connected, other than to answering machines. The desktop computer was not able to be connected to the internet. The television could be viewed, but only pre-recorded programs were broadcast, with no live content. Following these tests, it was determined that D6042 would attempt to tunnel upwards from the house using a garden shovel from the basement. D6042 spent the remainder of the day collecting supplies from within the house, including food and battery power lighting. The monitoring team provided instructions on setting up a makeshift ventilation system to provide air circulation. On the next morning, D6042 returned to a window in the attic to commence digging. Elapsed time: 41 hours, 12 minutes, 54 seconds. Okay, switch the fans on as you go past. Good. Then start the hole at the top, just below the top of the window. Great. May as well just throw it back down the stairs, and then just keep going like that. We'll be here if you want to talk.
Jeez, this is going to take forever. Do I have to start from the top?
I know the angle is awkward, but it will get easier once you start the tunnel. Doing it this way means you can keep that arch shape at the top, which will be more stable. And it will help make sure you are always heading upwards, although we can use the spirit level for that once you've gotten going.
Okay, James. You know best.
D6042 made slow but steady progress on the tunnel during the day. D6042's attitude during this period fluctuated between anger, withdrawal, and a strong desire for conversation. When preparing to sleep that night, D6042 watched television for several hours. Digging resumed on the second day. Elapsed time: 69 hours, 44 minutes, 18 seconds. D6042 is at the end of the tunnel, shoveling heavy clay onto a toboggan used to transport it back to the attic. On the next strike, the shovel blade makes a sharp noise.
I hit something. James!
I'm here. What is it?
I hit something. There's something hard here.
D6042 leans forward and pulls the tunnel face with both hands. Lumps of clay fall, revealing a white shape.
Can you see this, James?
Yes, we see it. Further digging reveals the shape as a long bone. D6042 pulls away.
Shit! That's the bone. Shit.
That's okay. You'd expect bones underground, wouldn't you?
No. That's not right. It's not right, James. Do you know why? I've been digging and digging, but there's nothing here. No worms, no bugs, nothing that lives underground. No moles, nothing. So if they aren't here, why is there a bone?
Let's take a closer look at it, okay? See what we can learn about it.
Right. Alright.
D6042 pulls away dirt from around the bone, moving down its length. A large chunk of clay comes loose at the base, revealing the bones of a human foot.
Oh, fuck. I told you. Fuck.
D6042 scrambles back out of the tunnel and into the house. The monitoring team's attempts to discuss the situation are ignored, and the headset is abandoned for some time. After approximately 2 hours, D6042 is observed walking past the headset and into the tunnel, carrying the shovel. 45 minutes later, D6042 returns to the attic and reattaches the headset.
I told you. Are you there?
Yes, we're here. What did you tell us?
I'll show you. This place is... I'll show you.
D6042 returns to the tunnel. Halfway along its length, the side of the tunnel shows signs of recent digging, forming a shallow branch at an angle to the main tunnel. 2 bones protrude from the earth at knee height. They appear similar to human radius and ulna.
See? Do you see that?
D6042 uses the shovel to move the loose dirt on the tunnel floor. A series of smaller bones are observed, presumed to be human carpal, metacarpal, and phalanges.
Tell me what the fuck is going on.
I can't. I'm sorry. I don't know what this is. We are doing our best.
Your best?
D6042 swings the shovel hard into the tunnel face at shoulder height, digging erratically. A sharp scraping sound is heard. D6042 swings again, and a large clump of earth falls. As it hits the tunnel floor, it breaks open, revealing a second human hand, partially decomposed. There is a sound of dry retching, and D6042 retreats from the tunnel. Labored breathing is heard for several minutes. D6042? Buddy? Are you okay?
Please, you need to do more. I can't.
We're doing it. We can see your GPS signal when you're in the tunnel. At the other end, it's coming from in the garden. We have a team coming. They're going to start digging down towards you. We'll get you out.
Please, you have to.
We will, but we need you to keep digging towards us. We'll see on the camera what we're seeing, and we can use that to see how close we are to finding you.
No more. Not today.
Okay, that's okay. We'll start again tomorrow. D6042 spent the rest of the day eating and sitting near the television. Early on the following morning, as D6042 was climbing to the tunnel entrance, the lights in the house lost power. Elapsed time: 88 hours, 20 minutes, 44 seconds.
Jesus! Shit! Can you still hear me?
I'm still here.
What's going on? What happened?
We don't know yet, but we can go down to the living room and...
No! I'm not going down there. I'm getting out.
Okay, I hear you. See if you can find the lamp, at least. D6042 climbs up and enters the tunnel, digging rapidly. D6042 speaks rarely, working in short bursts and resting on the tunnel floor. On several occasions, the tunneling disturbs bones or decomposing human remains. These are either covered in loose dirt by D6042 or ignored entirely. The monitoring team estimates that the total remains uncovered to date comprise at least 12 individuals. After several hours, the shovel blade strikes something hard at the tunnel base.
Oh, piece of...
D6042, we really need to see what this is. Please.
Why? Huh? Why?
It might be something we can use to help you get out.
Right.
D6042 digs deeper into the floor of the tunnel, exposing a decomposing human torso with several exposed ribs. Further along is a head, with some flesh and hair remaining. That's good. Would you go a little closer, please?
God, it smells. Ugh. How will this help?
Perhaps we can work out how they were buried. It could tell us how close you are to the surface. Can you pick up the head, please?
I don't want to touch it.
Come on, it won't hurt you. I really need you to do this.
You need me to do this? You need me? Fuck you, James. Fuck you. I need you to get me out.
D6042 hits the corpse repeatedly with the flat of the shovel, smashing the bones.
Is that okay? Is that helpful? Fuck you.
D6042 resumes digging erratically, no longer stopping to transport loose dirt from the tunnel. The incline of D6042's tunneling has increased when an arm is exposed and hangs from the tunnel ceiling. D6042 hacks at it with the shovel until it falls and leaves it behind to be covered in earth as digging continues. After several hours, the shovel again strikes something hard near the tunnel roof. D6042 digs further, exposing what appears to be a long tree root. D6042 ceases digging and remains looking up at the root. Hey, that's a good sign. D6042 does not respond. It should mean that you're getting near the surface. If you get a bit closer, we can try to work out how near.
No, it's not. I don't like it. It's not right.
What's wrong? It looks normal.
No.
Dr. Hollard makes contact with the digging team. The team has reached a depth of 20 meters. The excavation appears normal, with no signs of human remains. There are no large trees in the vicinity of D6042's childhood house. D6042 continues digging at the face of the tunnel for several more hours without food or water. Several further tree roots are exposed in the tunnel ceiling, as well as a disembodied leg, wrapped in scraps of material. D6042 continues, avoiding contact with tree roots. After 14 hours of activity, monitoring staff attempts to intervene. Hey, I know you're ignoring us, but you need to stop. You need rest and food. You need to sleep.
I need to get out.
Yes, but you can't dig if you're exhausted. You'll do better if you rest.
I don't want to.
Just a break then. We can talk.
Okay.
D6042 sits on the tunnel floor. Doesn't it feel better to take a break?
I am pretty tired.
Fair enough. You've made good progress today, despite it all.
Yeah.
Tell me, what would you like as your first meal when you get back?
I don't know.
Well, what sort of food do you like? Pizza? A burger?
Burger. With cheese.
Nice.
Could I get McDonald's, do you think? A quarter pounder?
I'm sure we can arrange that. Just tell us what you'd like.
I'm getting hungry.
D6042 returns to the tunnel entrance to collect food and water, and eats. Tomorrow, you'll be ready to go again.
Uh-huh.
Shall we head back down tonight? Back to your bed?
No.
It's probably better if you can, from an air circulation perspective.
No! I'm not going back down there.
Alright, well, stay out here near the entrance at least. D6042 switches off the battery power lamp. The tunnel and the attic are dark and silent.
How long has it been, James?
4 days.
Oh. I'm sorry about yelling.
It's okay. Don't think about that. Think about what you'll do when you're back.
James, I've been thinking about the tree.
Which tree?
The one in the picture. I've been thinking about it a lot. I didn't tell you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All the time while I'm digging, I think about the picture, and the noise, and the tree. I think the tree hates me. It hates me.
It's alright. You're alright. Don't worry. We're here.
I'm sorry.
Maybe it's our team you can hear, digging from above? That could be a good sign.
Maybe.
D6042 falls asleep for a few hours, before waking with a start.
What? Who's there?
I'm here, Dr. Hollard.
Oh, hi, James.
It's still early. You could go back to sleep.
No, I'm getting out.
D6042 turns on the lantern, takes the shovel and resumes digging. Human remains are uncovered frequently. Elapsed time: 109 hours, 12 minutes, 16 seconds.
God, it smells. Why are there so many bodies?
I don't know, perhaps you're below a graveyard? That will be a good sign. The surface will be closed.
A good sign? Below a graveyard?
Come on, buddy.
Come on, buddy, come on, bodies, let's all dig together. Dig, dig, dig. Oh, look, a boot. Anyone need a boot? Looks like a good one. I'm sure I can get the food out. Hey, James, you need a boot?
D6042 continues to dig, depositing body parts on the tunnel floor as they are dug up.
Another arm. How many is that so far? How many more to come? How many?
There is a sudden heavy noise, and the lantern is extinguished, leaving only D6042's headlamp.
No!
What's going on? Talk to me.
Shit, it fell, James.
The headlamp moves rapidly, but reveals that the tunnel behind D6042 has collapsed and filled with earth. The lantern has been buried, and the tunnel blocked.
Fuck, 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 fuck.
Stay calm, you can do this. You just have to dig your way through the collapsed section, so you can get through the...
No, I can't go back.
You have to, buddy. You need to dig back to the house. There is not enough air where you are.
Help me.
I'm trying, but you have to do this, okay? D6042 begins to shovel loose earth from the top of the collapsed section. More earth falls from above, together with a human leg in the early stages of decomposition. The leg is clothed in grey rags.
Oh, God.
D6042 continues digging at the collapsed section, forming a low hole. This hole appears stable, but dirt continues to fall from the ceiling of the remaining tunnel. Hurry! There is another loud noise from behind D6042. The camera turns. More of the tunnel roof has collapsed, reducing the remaining tunnel to a few meters in length. Come on, keep digging. The camera turns abruptly upwards, and D6042 gasps. Where the tunnel roof has fallen, in a series of thin tree roots have been exposed. Above there is no dirt. The tree roots extend upwards into empty blackness as far as the headlamp's light can reach. D6042 drops the shovel. Wait, we need to... D6042 scrambles into the low hole dug in the first collapsed section and crawls forward, pulling dirt away manually. Attempts by the monitoring team to communicate are ignored. D6042 continues digging forward slowly, surrounded by earth. D6042's camera view shows dirt on all sides, and the microphone records rapid breathing. Try to stay calm. Slower breaths, okay? D6042 continues digging forward, ignoring communication from the monitoring team. The hole remains narrow and low. D6042's hands appear to be bleeding in several places. After approximately 30 minutes, D6042 jerks to a stop.
My foot! Something's got my foot!
D6042 attempts to look back, but the hole is too cramped to turn.
Help! It's got me!
Are you sure? It could just be the dirt. Or more tree roots?
Ah!
D6042 squirms, twisting to face upwards.
I can't see, it's got my foot!
The camera moves wildly, but nothing can be seen on D6042's foot. D6042 appears to be hyperventilating.
I have to get out!
D6042 begins clawing at the root of the hole, attempting to dig directly upwards. Dirt falls directly onto the camera. Hey, you can't. Please listen to me. You have to go forward. The air, it won't... D6042 makes no response, continuing to dig upwards. The digging exposes grey fabric in the soil above, As more earth falls, it reveals a human torso covered in a grey jumpsuit.
No!
What is it?
It's me. That's my clothes. That was my boot before. They're all me.
That doesn't make any sense.
Ah!
D6042 scratches at the clothing on the roof of the tunnel. As the torso is exposed, a partially obscured number is visible on the chest of the jumpsuit. D6042 continues to claw frantically at the side and roof of the hole, exposing the head of the corpse. The corpse's face appears to resemble that of D6042. D6042 attempts to roll over, away from the dead face. As D6042 moves, there is a loud noise and the corpse falls from above, together with a large volume of earth. D6042 is knocked down. When the camera refocuses, the head of the corpse is directly in front of the lens, with packed soil visible above it. The corpse above appears to have fallen on top of D6042, collapsing the tunnel and burying D6042. The camera does not move. Can you hear me? Can you move? It's okay, buddy. I'm sorry. It's okay. After approximately 30 minutes, D6042 makes noise consistent with suffering convulsions due to hypercapnia. After a further 8 minutes, no further sounds are audible from D6042. The digging team continues excavation for a further 2 hours, reaching a depth of approximately 50 meters. No unusual results are observed. The team ceases work. D6042's camera and light continue operation for another 123 hours before running out of battery. Analysis of the final 5 hours of film has identified sounds consistent with muffled digging, slowly growing louder. Well, this was certainly horrifying. I don't think I need to explain why this SCP was perhaps one of the most memorable and well-written articles on the wiki. Wait, actually I do need to explain it. That's why you're here after all, right? Okay, so I'm going to start first of all with pointing out one little nitpick I had about SCP-3515. I don't think this is a problem necessarily, but I do think it's probably still worth pointing out. This objects class is safe, which I personally think it's totally justified for this SCP because, yes, while it will pretty much lead to a horrible death if you fall asleep around it, containing it is child's play. Just lock it inside of a room and don't fall asleep around it. Easy. By comparison, it will be much more dangerous to walk on foot on a busy highway, but you don't see the SCP Foundation classifying those as a killer. Despite this, I still feel like the special containment procedures are kind of lax. The procedure details that the containment and testing locations should be situated no less than 50 meters from any on-site sleeping quarters or common area, which obviously is meant to ensure that someone's bed won't be located right next to the room of the thing that buries you alive if you fall asleep next to it. But I feel like this isn't enough, and should be supplemented with the additional precautionary reason of posters having to be hanged around the area where SCP-3515 is contained, detailing why one shouldn't fall asleep within the area, because guess what? People falling asleep on the job, perhaps at their desk, is still something that could happen, and the containment procedure does not state that other work areas are not permitted around SCP-3515. And also the additional measure that SCP-3515 should never be contained on site with other sleeping-inducing anomalies, because in the Foundation there is quite a few of those, and in case of a containment breach of an anomaly capable of making people fall asleep, I could see things go very wrong. That's it, that's the only nitpick I had regarding this article, and now that that's out of the way, let's talk horror. This article obviously leans heavily onto taphophobia, which means the fear of being buried alive. From Wikipedia, while this fear is nowadays considered both abnormal and rather irrational nowadays, it was in fact far more common and not as irrational in the past, as throughout history before modern medicine advancements, being buried alive while being only comatose, only to wake up in a small buried coffin, was not an entirely impossible scenario. In 1905, William Tebb, an English businessman who concerned himself with the idea of premature burial to the point of actually co-founding the London Association for the Prevention of Premature Burial, had apparently collected not one, but hundreds of accounts that detailed premature burial, including 219 cases of near-life burial, 149 cases of actual life burials, 10 cases of life dissection, and 2 cases of someone awakening while being embalmed. In the past, this fear was apparently addressed with the invention of safety coffins, a type of coffin bearing a mechanism meant to prevent premature burial or allowing the occupant inside of them to signal that they have been buried alive by pulling a rope that will proceed to ring a bell located on the surface. And for an additional tidbit of trivia, George Washington himself was also afraid of being buried alive, which made him request that upon his death his body should be laid out for 3 days before burial, in order to confirm that he was truly dead. Going back to SCP-3515, we can see how taphophobia plays a huge role in the horror aspect of this article. And honestly, yeah, I mean, think about it. Well, at the end of the day, in terms of lethality or potential for mass destruction, this SCP probably ranks among one of the lowest. The death it will give you is definitely one of the worst ones. This is not a monster that will kill you in the blink of an eye if you take your eyes off of him, or that will rip you from limb to limb and consume your body in the span of a few seconds. Oh no. This SCP will send you to your childhood home. You will find yourself in there, alone, buried alive, as nothing but dirt will be visible from every window. You might think at first that there might be a chance to escape, because after all, you'll still be able to dig through for as long as your body allows you to, but the only point in doing that is to give you false hope. Your death will be a slow and agonizing one, away from everything and everyone you have ever loved, as you will find yourself jumping from one state of panic attack to the next in the place where you once lived as a child. And just like the 6042 who was able to perhaps soothe his nerves initially by watching some television, the true fear and panic will truly set in the moment the power will cut out, leaving you in complete darkness, pushing you through desperation to attempt to dig your way out, needing only one careless move, one careless shoveling for whatever tunnel you have created to collapse down on you. Best case scenario, the collapsing tunnel covers you from head to toe and suffocates you within the minute. Worst case scenario, it collapses just enough to stop you from moving, but leaving your head free, so now you're also completely trapped, unable to move, but still alive. Still left with enough oxygen to desperately panic and cry in the dark, knowing that now there is nothing left for you but to wait your own death, which may or may not come at any moment, as you have no idea of knowing how much oxygen is left, or whether or not the next collapse will be the final one. Going further into the horror of SCP-3515, I also found the final reveal and the concept of this SCP to be pretty terrifying. During his digging, D6042, which I will refer to as D6 from now on for brevity, kept finding various bodies, starting from skeletons to fresher and freshened cadavers, and while the initial and safe assumption might be that those were simply past victims of SCP-3515, the plot twist of them being just other versions of himself in various stages of decomposition, as the final sound heard being the digging of what was probably another version of himself, indicating that the one captured by SCP-3515 will find themselves stuck in an endless loop of being buried alive over and over. It was really good. That was a fantastic plot twist, and the reason that I liked it so much, it's because it added onto the horror of the whole story and did not represent the turning point for it. It was practically just the cherry on top of what was already a dread-filled cake of dirt, clay, and bones. And if all of this still wasn't horrifying enough for you, let me quote something for you that Dr. Hallard said at the very beginning of the article that bears some terrifying implications.
We're hoping you can help us work that out. You are the first person to document this phenomenon. Could you please have a look around and see if there is anything unusual?
Heavily implying that others became victims of SCP-3515 before D6, most probably other D-Class members, among with God knows how many innocent civilians, leading to the discovery of SCP-3515 to begin with. But none of those people had on them the communication equipment the D6 had. None of them had the luxury of at least having another human being on the end of what was practically a phone line to keep them company in their final moments. For as how tragic D6's story is, at the very least, he wasn't completely alone during all this. He had someone on the other end of the line offering advice, making small talk, attempting to keep morale and hope up, offering reassurance. But the others? Well, I doubt any of us would ever imagine how they must have felt, and are still feeling now, stuck in that loop. As I always say, sometimes the best type of horror is the one that we conjure up ourselves, trying to fill the gaps that horrifying stories such as these leave out. This is also one of the few SCP articles where we, or at least myself, don't know exactly about you, as the reader ended up rooting for the D-Class. Most of the time, D-Class are essentially the butt of any joke in the SCP universe. I mean, we know exactly what they are and why they're there. D-Class, as the name stands for, are disposables. Humans who have committed some serious crime and instead of being sentenced to death were practically kidnapped by the SCP Foundation and forced to partake in all sorts of horrifying experiments. The reason why we generally don't root for the D-Class as they get ripped to shreds by whatever sort of anomaly they happen to come in contact with is because we are led to think that, that guy probably deserved it anyway. It's a cynical way of thinking, but it's the sort of mindset that the SCP Foundation tends to adopt in their narratives and also influence on the reader. In this article, on the other hand, the reason why I was personally rooting for D6 is, well, first of all, because of the situation. Look, in terms of people who deserve a death like this, I think it will be safe to say that the list wouldn't be too long. On top of that, we're never told just what D6's crime or reason to become a D-Class was, so for all we know, they could have been one of the least deserving to be in this situation to begin with. In fact, one interesting matter about D6 is that we're not told much about them. We never find out their name, we never find out whether they were a man or a woman, although the fact that they were a man is a bit implied by the fact that James calls him Buddy, but you know, we don't get to know how old they were. There's only one thing we get to know about them, but that I'm going to talk about afterwards. Another reason as to why us, the reader, can end up sympathizing with D6 other than out of sheer empathy for the horrifying situation they find themselves in, is actually Dr. James Haller himself. While researchers generally treat D-Class members as an entirely disposable thing, Dr. James Haller throughout this whole ordeal appears to be treating D6 like an actual human being, never once threatening him if he didn't follow instructions, always providing some sort of moral support. And while one could argue that Dr. James Haller is doing this out of a more scientific interest, perhaps in a psychological way to befriend D6 and ensure its cooperation, and also in order to make sure to document as much as possible from this entire ordeal, the final line in the log does give out just how attached and sympathetic Dr. James Haller grew of D6. It's okay, buddy. I'm sorry. It's okay. The more I read this article, the more I felt like perhaps Dr. Haller was meant to represent us, the audience. Someone observing the entire ordeal that D6 is going through, being able to barely imagine the sort of fear and horror D6 was going through, while being unable to do anything meaningful to aid its situation. In terms of a more psychological subtext, I have to give my kudos to this article for what is essentially its double meaning. Reading it the first time, one might get the impression that this is just the story of a person buried alive, engaged in a futile attempt to claw their way out, but every time I read this story again and again, I found myself noticing new details, realizing that this, at least for me, was more of a metaphor for unresolved trauma, and how the feelings that accompany it can quite literally bury you alive and get you stuck in this never-ending loop of attempting to dig oneself out, only to find yourself right back at the beginning. And I think that this story more specifically refers to childhood trauma, hence why the location where SCP-3515 takes D6 to being their childhood home. After all, this concept would have been just as terrifying in practically any other location, but I think that the specific choice of the childhood home is actually in line with the theme of unresolved childhood trauma. Another element that points towards the theme of unresolved trauma and the inability to properly cope with it or resolve it is the subtle nod towards the idea of self-harm. At the end of the article, we get to find out that all of the bodies that D6 found while digging were previous versions of themselves, basically, and more than once the article reads D6 finding said bodies only to carve their limbs, chop them to pieces, or bash them with a shovel as their mental state continues degrading. It's a detail that when read the first time one won't pay too much attention to, given that we are yet unaware of the true nature of those bodies. There is also a very subtle hint at what kind of trauma this could be, although I warn you now it might be kind of a stretch, but I did find it interesting how during the story it was said multiple times that D6 lived in that house during his childhood with his family, but when attempting to figure out whether they were truly alone or not in the house, D6 only says,
"Any of you guys here? Mom?"
They never call for their dad. Of course, any of you guys here could also be referring to their dad, but I found it an odd detail that the mother was specifically called out afterwards, but the father wasn't. During the story, we also get to find out that D6's family no longer lives inside of that home, as the Foundation manages to find its real-world counterpart now inhabited by new owners. There's also a point to be made to the metaphorical idea of the Foundation and Dr. James Hollard, complete outsiders to this situation, attempting to dig out D6 by quite literally digging down through its childhood home, only to find nothing and being unable to help. Make of that what you will. While you might think that I am applauding the author for writing about trauma and disguising it in a story, I am not. I'm applauding the author for managing to write about it in such a subtle and yet distinctive way and not shove it in our faces. Others who write stories that are a metaphor for trauma are a dime a dozen, and I don't mean to discredit said authors through this, but most of those stories make it truly obvious by shoving its various metaphors in your face to the point where the reader is treated like someone who will be too stupid to get it otherwise. Might as well put a giant disclaimer before some of those stories reading, "Hello, this is a story about a scary situation, but in truth it's about trauma. Get it? It's about trauma." The reason why certain authors do this in their stories, and now I'm not necessarily talking about trauma metaphor stories, but just any story written to be a metaphor, it's because they're afraid that the reader won't get it, the reader won't understand the point they were trying to convey, which, hey, it's a legitimate fear for you to spend so much time writing something and for the reader to miss the point because you were too vague or unclear about it. But Sewell, the author of SCP-3515, wasn't afraid of that. Sewell wasn't afraid of creating a metaphorical story about unresolved trauma and being vague about it. Because even if one doesn't get the exact point of the story or does not catch on the subtext it tries to deliver, the story is still perfectly good as a standalone. In fact, one could remove each and every single metaphor I mentioned previously, the location could simply be a small abandoned grocery store buried beneath the earth, and the bodies could be just of previous past victims of SCP-3515, and this will still work wonderfully and be an exemplary work of literacy. While other similar stories or articles, once you remove all of the elements that hint or nod at the subject of their metaphor, are left with practically nothing of substance in the best case scenario or nothing at all in the worst case scenario. If you need an example of what I'm talking about, go take a look at SCP-3876, which personally, while I think it's an actually pretty decent article and definitely horrifying in the mental imagery that it provokes, is a perfect example of a story that is centered in its entirety around its metaphor, and the moment you take that out, you're left with practically nothing. Not to say that SCP-8876 is a bad article necessarily, I did enjoy it to a certain degree, but it does also read like a text-based version of a PETA parody flash game. Going back to SCP-3515, I don't think there is much left to say that I haven't said already. I think the last point to address and the word is, for one, the image associated with the article, SCP-3515 itself. I really like the drawing, it's a really nice work of art, and just by looking at it, I'm filled with dread. Good job to Zong, the author of the drawing, if I'm reading the citations correctly. The second cool part about this article is how the author formatted it. A bunch of articles like this one have collapsible logs that you can click on to open them, basically to save space on their page. This article doesn't use them, and from what I understood, it was a deliberate choice from the author to give the reader the feeling, as they keep scrolling down and down through the page, that they're also like sort of digging deeper and deeper. Kind of a cool idea. I liked it. So, what did you think of this particular SCP article? Was it just as horrifying to you as it was for me? Are there any others that you found similar to this one and you would recommend for me to read, and who knows, perhaps make a video on it one day? Let me know down in the comments. As always, I would like to thank the members of this channel for their support, and if you would like to join them and support my channel and my videos, you can do so through the join button down below. I would also like to thank you, yes, you, for watching this video until the very end. Thank you so much, it's really appreciated, and I'd appreciate it even more if you would drop a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm still a small content creator trying to make it out there, so every single interaction counts. With this being said, I would like to wish all of you a good night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.